Thank you, Xavier. How do I make it mirror the... Oh, that's it, I think. It's not changing. That's it. So try this.
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. Thank you for inviting me to talk about this international collaboration between media artists from the UNESCO Creative Cities of Media Arts. Here is a map of the UNESCO Creative Cities of Media Arts. We circle the globe, but we live in very different economic worlds. The largest media arts city has 8 million people, the smallest 14,000. Of course, larger cities might have larger budgets, but their challenges also tend to be greater. So in effect, even the largest city can be poor in quality of life, in education, and in cultural facilities. Levying taxes on economic activity is what enables cities to grow and thrive. GDP may be a flawed measure of the relative wealth of cities, but it indicates a city's ability to participate in any game where the stakes are the same for all. The contrast in GDP between media art cities is stark. Someone who works in the wealthiest city involved in City to City generates 6 times as much taxable income as their equivalent in the poorest. City to City wants to address the unequal relationship that continues to shape many international programs. This legacy of colonial attitudes can be hard to shake off when the resources are distributed from and managed by agencies in North America or Europe. City to City set out to be an equal partnership. Aside from the artist's fee, each city devotes resources, especially time, locally according to its capacity. City to City was born at our mid-year meeting in Braga in Portugal in 2019. Here we are, before COVID. The focal points of Braga, Guadalajara, Guangzhou, and Košice were working on international projects. They suggested building on the idea of an artist from Guadalajara, Paris Diaz, for us to exchange digital postcards, which would then be exhibited at the 2020 annual conference. That was the plan. But the creative economy, along with hospitality and travel, were then brought to a halt by the measures intended to prevent infection, such as lockdown. Overnight, everywhere, the self-employed artists, actors, musicians, curators, and directors on which culture depends found themselves without work. Could the media art cities, by working together, support artists and inspire their communities at the same time? We decided to move City to City online, the call-out, selection of artists, and the management of the project by the focal points. An open call went out in each city asking for artists to commit to working online with an artist from another city to produce an artwork on the theme of human responsibility. This focus on sustainable development was proposed by Košice for its annual Art and Tech Days festival in 2020, and we hoped the artworks could be exhibited during the event. Each artist was paid a commission fee by their artist and worked to a standardized contract. The 10 artists from 9 cities worked in pairs, which were determined by us, the cities. The focal points met their own artists regularly over the production period of 3 months and liaised with their paired city to monitor progress. The artists' very diverse interests and skills included GPS tracking, perception of landscape, urban identities, natural resources, and machine translation. The ideas they focused on within the theme of human responsibility were also various. This is a screenshot from a virtual gallery in Braga. Kozice then found they could not hold the planned Art and Tech Days festival. We replaced the physical installation of the 5 artworks with a dedicated website, hosting an online exhibition at Braga Media Arts. City to City 2020 Human Responsibility was launched at a Zoom webinar with a live feed on Facebook on 10th of December. An audience of senior UNESCO staff, city mayors, civic and cultural representatives from participating cities were welcomed by the Mayor of Braga, addressed by Guru Peter Weibel from Karlsruhe, heard from artists, and experienced the work itself. We decided that in 2021, each artist would still select their artist. Then there would be a series of workshops, the city-to-city labs, which would enable the artists to get to know one another and to discuss ideas before forming the teams that produce the work. We wanted to put more responsibility into the hands of the artists and to encourage them to test the limits of the project. A survey of the artists and the focal points enabled us to review what had worked and what had not. Artists wanted longer to develop the work together, and focal points agreed that the commission fee could be doubled. We wanted the resulting work to reflect the challenges of recovery after COVID and the role of creativity in that. So we proposed the idea of human relationships being rebooted. The central idea is the instruction to play. While the work in 2020 was generated by artists working in pairs, this year last year rather, there are 3 groups of 3 artists and 1 group of 4. The selected artists completed the 4th and last lab led by various experts, before beginning a 2-month development period in which they worked in teams to make the artwork. Each team presented plans and discussed them with the other teams. So City to City 2021 has already succeeded in developing deeper relationships between artists in all our cities. Everyone involved has benefited from City to City. Artists could experience 10 excellent, innovative, newly commissioned artworks. The artists were employed for 3 months during the hardest months of the pandemic, and they developed their careers. The focal points, especially the planning group, learned much more about how to work remotely. And each of the media art cities has gained by having participated in a high-profile international event. The development process was fascinating in itself. This short film records, if I can play it. Okay.
Hello, I'm Erica Jean Frito, dance artist based in Austin, Texas, and co-director of Arcos. I'm interested in how technology shapes and changes our body, our identity, and our understanding of the world.
안녕하세요. 저는 미디어 아티스트 이태원입니다. 저는 한국 사람입니다. 저는 남쪽이고요. 북쪽은 아닙니다. 저는 역사적 유산이 풍부한 유네스코 미디어 아티스트 요크의 버추얼 레지던스 작가로 이 프로젝트에 참여하고 있습니다.
Hi, 我是陈梅妍. I'm composer Mei Yan Chen and represent UNESCO Media Art City of Karlsruhe. As a Chinese composer who studies and works in Europe, I had experienced the different cultural meanings of sound.
I'm Elliot Gray Fisher, intermediate performance artist and co-director of Arcos, representing Austin, USA. I believe that the kind of interactivity that's possible in media art can transform our relationships with ourselves and the world.
We have discussed a lot what kind of play would be most needed in this time with the pandemic, climate change, and discrimination.
What does each of us need in this moment to heal, to grow, and to feel joy?
We came to the conclusion that we need to actively understand each other,
Not only as artists, but as complete, complex humans. We spent several weeks sending and responding to short clips of video, sound, or images of ourselves in daily life. We asked each other questions, played games like Two Truths and a Lie. This playful process led us toward the idea of sharing stories and how our imagination fills in the gaps when we don't understand something. Told Hold is definitely playing in those realms.
Our goal is to create a sound atmosphere that breaks the rule of cultural interpretation, so that participants focus on their own understanding of story, video, and sound without cultural barriers.
When people interact with our piece, they'll read a story that someone else has told, choose one of our sounds that they think fits, and imagine they are holding the story in their dancing hand as they record it with our audiovisuals. Then they can tell their own story for the next person and hear all the sounds mixing together, accompanying all the videos that people have recorded.
Every participant is part of sound, so everyone is tied up together with unspeakable connections.
It's all about understanding which can be able to link individuals to individuals, city to city, and culture to culture in order to be open-minded.
Instead of the uncaring face we often think of as the default mode of human societies, artists found ways to express the solidarity of communities and joy in human interaction. This was recognized by UNESCO, included the project in 2 publications, and through the Sant'Agata Award for Best International Project. A physical installation of all 10 works is planned for the annual conference of Creative Cities, which takes place in Santos, Brazil, next month. Works are also being mounted as part of the media arts festivals that many of the cities hold each year. The next edition of City to City is being planned for 2023. We're looking for support for the next working group to manage the project and to take it on to the next stage. Thank you.